Welcome to Papyrus Plans. I'm Tasha. Ready to create something beautiful? Let's dive in.
Hello, welcome back everyone. So today we're going to be working on my creative journal for the month of July. And I guess per usual, things have changed a little bit. Originally my idea was to do something kind of more vibrant like this, which is why I said this was going to kind of mirror what I was going to do for July in terms of the vibrant colors. And the theme that I chose for this month is a safari. So I thought that would be kind of cool. And I thought it would kind of go with the tropical theme over here with the waterfall. But the more I was designing it, I just wasn't feeling it. I felt like it was a little bit too close to this design in terms of color palette. And so I decided to do something a little bit different. And so I created more of like a pastel safari theme, and I'll explain what these numbers mean in just a moment. And so I created it, and then when I printed it borderless, and then I printed it, I believe, at 70 or 75% transparency, because I wanted this to be light enough to write on, but still to kind of visually see the designs. So that's why this is a little bit lighter than I would normally have it, and not as, vibrant as I would ordinarily go, just because I wanted a softer palette and also to be able to write on it as well. So these are going to be the journal pages. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I created some sort of effect where it was, like in the old explorer days where they had their travel notebook with them and they're jotting down in their logbook, the things that they're observing, like the animals they're seeing for the first time, things they're experiencing. I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of recreate that experience or that look in my journal. So then I had the idea of, okay, well, what if I made this look like my own logbook, right? So I was inspired by Field Notes, and they make actual notebooks, travel books, logbooks, etc., different memo books, different colors, different sizes. But I decided to go with just their traditional craft brown cover, and I use some of the pops of color from scrapbook.com for this to give it some dimension to help it stand out. Originally, I actually was going to foil this, but the more I looked at it, I said, I don't know if the foiling is going to really go with this design. So the only foil I really have is in the month here, and this is from my Paper Studio numbers and days, and I just pulled a month tag here. I was going to write it, but then I decided just to put that there. I just felt like it would just be nicer. So for this, I used the pops of color in black. And again, just to give it some extra dimension, I thought it'd be kind of cool to have kind of like this tactile experience. And when I touch it, it's raised. Now, I will say this was a labor of love. When I started it, and by the time I got to the E, I almost was like, why did I choose to do this? Because trying to get it in this little space where the letters were was quite difficult with the tip. And so I had to kind of play around with different techniques to try to figure this out. And I messed up the D and the E slightly, but I used my weeding tool from Cricut to kind of clean up the edge here. And I did my best to do that. So, there's a slight smudge there, but it is very slight. And I decided not to do it again because, again, it was very time consuming. But I do like the effect. Now, when I'm working in wider spaces or when I'm just kind of doing something artistic, it's not that big of a deal. But for this, when you want to try to be as precise as possible, it was very difficult to kind of stay within these small little, shapes of the letters is what I'm saying. So basically, I printed this, I scanned one of my friend's Field Notes books and just printed it on sticker paper, essentially. So I have the front cover. This is the inside of the front cover. And then the back cover. This is the back cover. Yeah, these two go together. So this is the front cover, the inside of the front cover, and then the inside back cover, and then back cover. So when it's on there, it'll be like this. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to have the inside of my journal bookended by this, so that it looks like I tucked in like my field notes into my journal. I just thought that'd be kind of a cool effect. So we're going to try to do that. And originally, like I said, I was going to go more with like a traditional safari theme, and I actually had saved these washies to use for this, which is why I didn't use them on this project, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to save this for my safari theme and just have different shades of green for washi. And the only sad part about this is I'm not going to use any washing, because in order to create the kind of journal logbook effect, I don't think it will look like that if I use washi. So I'm a little sad about that, because I did say this specifically for that, but maybe I'll try to find another way to use this in the future. So we'll see. And the other thing that I thought I might do, which is, again, not something I typically do in my journal, is, and this is the reason for the numbers on this, I kept doing the math to try to figure out, because I'm taking up, you know, 2 full pages to create the cover. I ended up counting out everything from now to the end of the year, and I had 6 extra pages. And so I thought, okay, I can take up 2 of those 6 pages to create this effect and still have enough in case I want to do something, special later on in the year, or at the end of the year or something like that. And so I decided to do that. But because of that, I needed to make sure I could get a certain amount of days per page. And so based on the design, I kind of decided, okay, how many days of journaling could I fit? Typically, I fit 3 days of journaling because I use my bullet journal for my dot grid journal for an entire year. I don't like the idea of having it split up. I know some people use, one full journal for like 6 months and then another one for 6 months. I personally didn't want to do that. I wanted everything contained in one journal for an entire 12-month period. So in order to do that, and this is my Happy Planner dot grid journal, I have to average about 3 days of journaling per day, which for me is fine because, I'm not writing a novel. I'm just kind of writing about the kind of snippets and highlights of my day, writing about my mood, if anything happened, if nothing happened, saying that everything was kind of normal or a good day, etc. So I'm not writing these lengthy things like I used to when I was younger. I used to write pages and pages. Now I'm kind of just, this is for my mental health, just to kind of document some things throughout the day, or document things that are happening throughout the week, that kind of thing. So again, I don't need a lengthy amount of space in order to write. So this is what the number is. So for this one, for example, this is the first page. I need to get 2 days of journaling on this because the third day would cover up the scene here. And so this is going to be part decorative and part functional. And I wanted to be able to see, parts of the scene on each page and still have it be functional. And so that's what this is too. So this is the back cover. Front or back. I didn't decide whether I wanted this for the front or the back cover. So I'll decide which way I want to go with that. But for the last page, first page, I haven't decided. But again, 2 days here. That way I can see either the trees or the cool Jeep at the bottom. So I'll probably want to save the Jeep and put 2 days at the top. So that's what that means. And so I did that for each page. I have, I think I can fit 3 days here and probably, 2 days here. Now, in order to do that, what I usually do is I take if you watch any of my other creative journal videos, I'll use my Paper Studio numbers and days stickers and will, date it. I don't think I'm gonna do that this time because I feel like that's gonna make it, again, slightly cluttered. And again, if I was in the field, I wouldn't be able to have this. And so I kind of wanted to mimic that experience as much as possible. And then I remembered that I think about this a couple of years ago, and I can't remember where I got it, but I'll try to find something similar for you guys. I have this dating stamp, I guess I would call it. And I used to have an automated one, but it expired. I think they do like 10 or 15 years out. And I had it so long that I think it was like expired like 2009 or something, 2015, something like that. And so I bought a new one. And I think this goes all the way up to, 2033, 2035, something like that. But anyway, I thought I would use this and just use some of my archival inks to stamp the date. And so I have different shades. I'm not sure which one I'll use or if I'll use, different ones on different pages, but we'll see. I'm leaning more toward this coffee colored one. But again, I have one in night sky and then one in jet black. So I think any of these will work because all of the colors are represented here. And so I thought what I would do is date it, but I'm thinking about using boxes. That way I can kind of put the boxes down right in the box. Now, again, I typically don't do that. I did that last year in my mixed media journal that I created, and I particularly didn't like that experience. I felt like I was contained within the boxes. But I think if I do that, it'll be easier to date it, and then easier to write in it and still see the design. So that's why I'm kind of leaning toward that. So I pulled lots of boxes from my Happy Planner Colorful Boxes sticker book, and I might go back in there in this again, but just some that I thought might work. I have, like some neutral colors, some gold, copper, grays, So I might have to get creative. And again, like the checklist boxes, that kind of thing, I don't want to use those. I want to be able to have at least this much space to write in. I wish there were more double boxes in this. Like I have like this long box, which is kind of nice. So I might throw in some of those because I did use some kind of soft pastels in this as well. But we'll kind of play around with this and kind of see what works and what doesn't. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I just kind of pulled some of the ones I thought I might use just because the ones on the left side are more vibrant with the exception of the neutrals in the back. So that's why I didn't really use this. And plus I've used up a lot of these. I do have a brand new book of this, so I might pull that out. I'm not sure. Like, for example, these boxes, I feel like that's a little small. I mean, I don't write a huge amount each day, but I think I need at least, you know, a regular box per day. And thankfully, I don't write very large, but that's why I'm kind of leaning towards this end of it. And I think I pulled all the largest boxes that I could find. Now, actually, what I'm thinking about, I might use some of my boxes I made for my grocery list. Actually, you know what? Let me pull some of those just in case I decide to do that. I just thought about that. Let's see. See, these are longer. I usually use these as my sidebar. You know what? I might do that. And if I need to make more of these, I can, because I have a bunch of these in different colors. If I can fit them. So maybe I'll do a combination of this with some of the other boxes. That way, at least I have at least 1 or 2 longer boxes each week I can write in if something, you know, remarkable happens, etc. So again, we'll kind of play around with that. So I'll put that to the side. Again, not sure exactly how I'm going to use the boxes, but we'll figure it out together. And again, I probably won't be using this. I think I'm going to use this. But you know, maybe I should test this and see if I like it because it's brand new and I haven't used it yet. So let's maybe do that now that I'm thinking about it. Let me get a scrap piece of paper. There's a strip of paper that I cut for something else. And let's maybe test it. Let's see, did I have it set? And this is in reverse, so you got to kind of remember doing the number in reverse when you do this. So when you stamp it, it's the right number. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, well, that's cool. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to do this. I think that looks really good, and that stamped really well. Let's see what the second stamp looks like. Okay, so second stamp is very faded. You can't quite see it, but the first stamp is great, so I'll have to ink it every time. And again, this is archival ink, so it's going to be perfect for in my journal. So, okay, yeah, that's decided. So I'm definitely going to use this. So that's great to know that that works. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started and work on the cover page, the front cover page. So I think I'm gonna get my new clips that I bought. I did a haul video on some of the items that I got in Happy Mail, so be sure to check that out. I'll try to remember to link that below. I think I'm gonna put this on this side to just kind of hold that flat. And I think I might remove the center one. This is my cute new little bumblebee that I got on Amazon. And again, I'll try to remember to link everything. Okay. So the good thing is I don't have to do, at least I don't think, any cutting because I did, this should fit the page exactly because I used A5 paper. So, oh wait, no, not this first. I almost messed up. I want to do this first. Okay. I think it will fit exactly with the exception of cutting the corner. And I think there's like a 1/4 inch shy on the right side. Well, more like a 1/3 of an inch. Okay, so I will have to trim very slightly on the right and maybe just a sliver on the top. So that shouldn't be too bad. So maybe I'll bring it down since I have more space here. Yeah. Okay, so I might do it like this. And again, this is A5 sticker paper and this journal is slightly smaller than A5. Well, this is half letter, I guess I should say. Yeah, I think that'll work. And again, I'll just trim the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and put this down. And then maybe I'll do the front and back cover. And then we can play around with the pages. So I'm going to do my best to get as close to the middle as I can without touching the middle seam. Actually, I think I'm gonna do this upside down so I can see this top page better, and I'm gonna get my cutting mat to make it a little bit easier for me to see this edge. And let me also get my craft scraper just in case I need it. Just so I can see this top edge a little bit better. So I want to come all the way up to the top. And hopefully not go over. Okay. And I'm just going to use my craft scraper to slowly smooth it out. Okay, that's not bad. Let's go. All right, so again, I'm going to line it up with the top left edge so it will mirror the first page, and then trim off any excess. So again, I think I'm going to turn it upside down. And I'm going to do my best to match this curve and bring it up to the very top edge. I'm trying to match the curve and bring it all the way up, which is why I left the bottom of the backer sheet on, just so I can kind of manipulate this a little bit more easily. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as close as possible, just so it mirrors each other. I'm going to smooth it down. Okay. And let's see. I think what's the best way to cut this. Actually, I might use my gyro cut. I think it just might be a little bit easier to get this curve. And excuse my head. I need to bend down so I can see this edge. I'm holding the page down so that I can have a little bit more control. And just guiding the blade slowly toward me. There we go. And then I only need to clean up that little edge there. That went over the page. Okay, so just that small sliver of sticker paper. Let's take a look. Okay, not bad. So Again, getting as close to the spine as I can without hindering it from, you know, flipping back and forth. That's really important. So make sure, I know it's really tempting to have this touch, but you do need some space here. Let's see. Okay, that looks pretty good. Again, yeah, I think I might come back at the very end and just ink the pages, but we'll see. We'll play around with that a little bit later. Okay, now let's see. Try to find where the end is. Okay, this is August. Here, and make sure that I counted everything properly. So this is front. I think I might do this one in the back. So if I count it right, that's where that goes. Then these two. These two. I should have one more. Did I miscount? Okay, I'm saying, oh, I said here I have to get 4 days. See, can I do that? 1, 2. I think I might be able to do that. Okay. And this has to be back cover. Okay, so this must be a bonus page. Okay, so I need 1 page here, and then the inside back cover is here. And then this goes here. Back cover, inside back cover. Then I have this one for, okay, let me double check because I'm not sure why I have this extra page. Let me make sure I did my math right. Then make sure I get all the days, and then I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I'm not sure what happened, but I think when I decided to add the front and back cover, I must not have recounted the pages. I think the front and back were still included in my count, and I think that was throwing it off because I remember counting this twice and it being right. So I had to redo it. So instead of 2 days, I have to get 3 on the first one, and 4 on a couple of them, which I think I can do. Most will be 2 or 3, and then the last page, I think I had 2, and that one is going to have to be 3, I think. Yeah. So I did have to kind of readjust that. So yeah, I think when I added in the idea to do the back cover, I forgot to reallocate the page numbers. And I want to make sure it stays within this, again, to make sure I have enough room for the rest of the year. Okay, so I'm going to clip this in place with this so I can do the back cover. Because again, I want to make sure I don't go past this. Okay. So I think that's why I wrote, this part was right, but the inside wasn't. So I wrote a note to myself, this has to be the inside back cover. This is the back cover, okay? So inside. And again, I think I'll go by the top edge and then just kind of trim off what's at the bottom. So I was freaking out for a little bit when I thought I had messed up. I did it right, but I forgot to reallocate the pages, the number of days of journaling I have to get on the pages after changing it to front and back cover. Because originally I just was going to do front cover and back cover. And then I thought actually it would be kind of cool to actually mimic the front cover and the inside front cover and the back cover, the inside back cover of an actual field notes journal. So that's why I did that. I didn't have to, but again, it kind of creates a really cool effect. Again, do my best to come all the way up to this edge without going over and without going inside. Okay, pretty good. Looks like I went over slightly the bottom here. Or the side, I should say. So I'm gonna turn this so I can see it. Again, it's kind of hard to see because the back of the sticker paper is white. So holding it at an angle so I can see where to slide my scissors. And then clean up this bottom edge, and then I have to recreate that curve that I lost. There's this clip because it's a little hard to cut. Okay, now I'm going to follow the curve at the top here. And then use the bottom of the sticker backer to create the curve at the bottom that I lost when I trimmed off. I'm just using my pencil to kind of outline this curve so I can see it. Again, so it matches that. I'm going to lose a little bit of the measure at the bottom, but not much. Again, we want to mimic it, but it is not going to be identical, but as close as possible, just so it looks realistic. Okay, so we have that. We just trim up this one side. Okay. Now let's do the final back cover. And again, I'm going to line it up with this rounded edge and match the other side. So then it'll lay perfectly there. It's going over slightly, but just a small amount. Oh, I wonder if should I try to lift this? I'm going to try to lift this because it's shifting over this way and I don't want it to. Oh no, I'm wrinkling it. Maybe I shouldn't have pulled it up. I'm gonna have to reglue this because it's... Oh boy. It did not like being pulled up. But you know what? Our notebooks get worn, so you know what? That just kind of makes it look more realistic. Actually, it kind of looks... I kind of like the effect, but I'm gonna have to add some glue for sure. Because I pulled up part of the page when I did that. From the sticker. So... I was getting worried that I was shifting too far to the outside. Because I need to have a 1/4 of an inch, but I didn't want to end up with like a 1/2 of an inch in the middle. Okay. Okay, actually I think I fixed it for the most part. I'm just kind of squeezing the fibers of the paper back together. Remove some of this excess glue. All right, so I have a small sliver of the trim at the top. Again, so the sticker paper isn't going over the top edge. And I think I'm again to use my gyro cut to get this bottom. So I feel like it's just going to be a little bit more accurate than my scissors. And I'm going pretty slowly while pressing down with firm pressure, but not hard pressure. Okay, let's take a look. Again, not bad considering I lifted the whole page up. With that glue over here, but again, I guess it just makes it look more worn, which makes it look a little bit more realistic, I guess. This is a well-loved notebook. Or a fake notebook, I should say. Okay. So, actually, you know, that kind of adds character, because I have some notebooks that I've had for a really long time, and that they're worn like that, so, you know, I'm not mad at it. You know, sometimes these mistakes end up being things that turn out being good. So just cleaning up any edges I see that are going over. Okay, not too shabby. Okay, now I'm going to take that off and do the rest of the pages. Okay, so now let's go back to the front, and I'm actually going to keep this on there just so I remember what each page, how many days of journaling I have to get for each page. And that's why I did that, so I would remember that, hey, you need to make sure you get this many days out of this. So I think what I'll do is put it down, and then when I'm done, come back and round out all the corners to match the front and back cover. So I'm going to put all these pages down, and then I'll be right back, since this is going to be the same process as what I just showed you for the front and back cover. All right, guys, so I just finished adding all the pages. So let me do a quick flip through, and then I'll talk to you about some of the things that I ended up having to do. And that's the back page. Okay, now this last page changed because I had a bit of a error that happened on my part. This was supposed to be the last page. And I put it back on the sticker backer sheet because I wanted to get a clip to hold something down so I could make some adjustments. And I accidentally put it, instead of on the glossy side, on the back side. And as you can see, when I tried to peel it up, it started tearing and buckling. And I was like, are you joking? And at first I was confused because I was like, why is it doing this? It should just peel up off of the backer sheet. And then when I turned it over and saw that it was glossy, I was like, oh my God, I didn't put it on the backer sheet. I put it on the opposite side of the backer sheet. So, you know, this is the glossy side, and this side is more like paper. So that was problematic. And I was really sad because this and the front page are two of my favorite designs that I made. And so I was kind of sad about that. But then I remembered, and at first I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go create another one, print it out, and all that. And I was like, God, I really don't want to have to do that. And then I remembered I had an extra sheet. So then I was like, well, I guess it's a good thing that I created an extra sheet. So I used the African ostrich over here for the last page instead of this, because I just didn't think that I could salvage this. Because as you can see, it buckled and tore in so many places just because it was on the paper side instead of the glossy side. And when I tried to lift it, I mean, it just was ripping like crazy. So I was like, yikes. Okay, I'm all for, you know, character, but this, I was like, I just don't think it's usable. I mean, now I might be able to try to cut this out and maybe try to salvage this and put it somewhere else. I don't know. But I just thought, yeah, that's not going to work. So thankfully, again, I had made an extra sheet by accident. So I was able to make that work. Then the other thing that I did is, after I trimmed everything and rounded all the corners, then I went back and filled out the front inside cover of the field notes. And this just said, in the event of misplacement, you know, return to at this email address, and there is or is not a reward in the amount of blah, blah, blah. So I just covered that up with some scrap. I ran out of my craft brown paper, but I had some scrap cardstock. And so what I did is I just took my craft knife, and after I cut it down to size, I wedged it in between the middle and then pulled it apart to take away some of the bulk. So basically I wanted to remove about half of it. So again, to make kind of turn it into thick paper versus cardstock. Again, just kind of take away some of the bulk in my planner. So I did that. And then I filled this out. So I have the field notes. This field notes memo book is property of Tasha, and then pertinent coordinates, latitude, longitude, coordinates between Curiosity and Wonder, somewhere on the Golden Plains beneath the acacia trees, and for internal records, start date, completion date, July 1st, July 31st, 2025, because that's how far this goes, right, for the entire month of July. And then in the event of misplacement, I wrote, if found, please kindly return to the Safari base camp. Warning, contents may contain uncharted dreams, zebra sightings, and unfiltered imagination. Contact Tasha for a reward of gratitude and a lifetime supply of lion-sized thanks. So I just wanted to be kind of playful because it's my own journal. And I love the fact that, originally my idea was to kind of tip in the field notes cover. And I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. And then when I realized and I counted it out and saw that I had enough pages to actually put it in here, that's why I decided to do that. And I'm kind of glad that I did, because I love the fact that when it's like this, it looks like I have my notebook laying on top of my journal, and then when I have it this way, it looks like, oh, I stuck in my field notes inside of my journal. So I love that effect. And that's exactly the effect that I was going for. And I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So minus a little snafu on the last page. I mean, everything was going really well. Like, I was in a zone. I was putting down the pages, smoothing them out, trimming them, rounding the corners. And then I got to this page and it just all went to the dogs. So I was glad that I had an extra sheet of paper, extra design rather, that I could put here. So yeah, I'm glad that I did that. Okay, so that's where we are. Again, I'm not going to use my normal numbers and days from Agenda 52 Paper Studio. I'm going to use this stamp, and we did that test earlier to make sure that it was functional and that it looked the way that I wanted it to, and it does. So I love that effect. So that's what we're going to do. So I think first things first is I'm going to put down my boxes because I think that makes the most sense. And then I think what I'm going to do is stamp the date at the very top of the inside of each of the boxes. So I think that's everything. I'm trying to make sure I'm telling you everything that I did. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I don't think I mentioned is I use this, again, the cardstock. I mentioned that part, but for some reason, I originally actually ran this through my Xyron because it fit perfectly. But because the adhesive is so strong and because of the fibrous nature of this paper, like almost all the adhesive tore off the back of it. Because again, the paper fibers were just, it's smooth, but because it goes all the way through and it doesn't have that kind of core like other paper has, it ripped all the adhesive off the back. And so it created quite a bit of a mess. So then I just used my glue stick to put adhesive on the back and then stick it down. But the adhesive from the Xyron adhesive, I don't know if you ever use Xyron, but Xyron's adhesive is crazy strong. And the areas where it kind of stuck to this, and then I took, a napkin and I was trying to dab at it and it was smearing and discoloring. And then I was like freaking out. Then I got my rubberized adhesive remover and I was trying to do that. As you can see, it kind of took up some of the paper. Again, because the adhesive is it's just ridiculously strong. And then I finally was like, I better stop because I don't want to ruin this. And I'm like, and I am not printing this out again because I was like, we are not doing that. So, it has some smudges, but again, like the back cover, it adds character. And so I was like, we're going to leave it there. And it's like, my notebooks that I've had for a really long time don't look perfect. And so this is trying to mimic that. So it's kind of the same thing. So I was like, I cleaned it up as best as I could. And I got, as much of the tackiness away that I could. But again, that adhesive, it is like stuck to this and it was on my fingers and I didn't realize it. And so when I was cleaning it, I was like holding this down and doing this and not realizing it. And I didn't realize I was putting more adhesive on this. So it was a mess. So that's kind of, what happened in between that. And I think that's everything that I did off camera. Okay, so now we're back to trying to decide if we want to use boxes and dating everything. And I think boxes, again, I think it's going to be the easiest way to go just so I have something to kind of more easily write in without taking away from the design. So I left these little sticky notes on the pages, again, to remind myself how many I need so that I can make sure that I actually get the right number. So that's what we're going to start working on. So let's add this to the front so that we can focus on this. And I use my Pigma Micron for this in dark brown. So I think that's the only other thing I didn't mention. Okay, now let's figure out what we want to do in terms of boxes. And I'm still kind of on the fence about this, but I think boxes are the best way to go. I don't know. I guess I'm just not sold on the look of it all. So I'm going to bring this over, just my colorful boxes that I've made for myself. And these are like my grocery list boxes. And I have a bunch of these that I've made. And I might pull all these out just so I can see the different colors I have to work with here. And again, I can always print some more. So combination of using some of these, maybe with some of the Happy Planner colorful boxes. Okay, so I just want to pull that out so I can see what I have. Okay, so I need 3 boxes on the first page. And you know what? I might be able to fit 3 of these. I wonder. I mean, this is already cut out by my Brother Scan and Cut, but I'm just going to cut it apart just so I can see if 2 will fit. I mean, it's going to be tight, but I think it will. Again, I'm just kind of cutting away, even though this is already cut away, just so I can lay it down and see. So it'll fit if I trim it. 2 will fit up there. And let's see, will this one fit down here? Just so I can gauge the size. Okay, so I could technically put 3 of these. I'm not sure if I like the way that looks. Okay. Or should I use some of these? And again, I just kind of pulled any of the neutral boxes that I had that I thought might go. I'm trying to use up as much as I can in this book. This is my older book. I do have a brand new one that I bought, but again, I'm trying to use these up first. Let's see. I think blue would go. Yeah, there's some blue in here. Just try to pull, and I don't want to use checklists, but the other ones I think will be fine. Okay, so let's see. How many blues do I have? I have these 2. And is this the same color? This checklist box. So I could use this one. Just 2 dot grid and 1 plain one. Actually, I think I might be able to fit 3 boxes up here if I did it that way. I guess I'm just worried these aren't enough space. I wish these were slightly larger. And I feel like these might be slightly too big. But it gives me plenty of writing space. Like this mimics the space I would normally have. But it would be nice to see some of the tree. And if I use 3 of these. So maybe I'll put 2 small boxes here and then maybe a large one at the bottom. Maybe I'll do that. So let's see. I might use this one. This like sage green color. And just trim it down. Again, this has already been cut out, but I'm just trying to make it easier for myself to deal with. Okay, so if I trimmed off, look at 1/8 of an inch on the sides. Just sort of fits slightly better. Okay, that gives me 1 day that's long and then 2 boxes up there. I think that might work. Okay, I think we're gonna go for it. Again, I'm kind of on the fence about using boxes, but I think this is gonna be the easiest way to do this. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna see some of the page at the bottom, so maybe right about there, right at the edge of the wheel. And let's see. These have gold in them, but this one doesn't. Do I have another one without gold? Maybe I'll use the brown one. I have 2 brown, but I only have 1. So that's the problem. I only have a small amount of colors. Okay. Well, I have this left over from a sticker kit. It's a little dark, though. What if... use these ones. It's more of an ivory color. It's lighter. That might work. I might use the larger boxes in this. I'm not sure if I have enough of these. These are gold. I'll try to keep the ones that have gold together in case I do use them. Gold, gold. gold. I have a couple of copper rose gold boxes. And see, these are circles. I pulled them, but they're a little small. So I think I would have to use like 2 or 3 for one day. And that's my only concern about using the ones that are this size. So I'm not sure about that. I think I need to stick to this size. I think these ones I could at least write, you know, like 3 or 4 sentences about my day. Because I don't write very large. So, I mean, I have the circles, but I'm not sure if I want to use them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like I have them, but eh. Okay, so all the fold ones are together. So, let's see. Do I have more than... Is this the same color? Okay, this is the same color. So I could use a dot grid and just this grid. Because I think the only other one I have has gold in it. I'm not sure if I want to use gold. Yeah, these two have gold. Like, this is dot grid, but I feel like it's going to bother me to have one box with gold and one without. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. But they're the same pattern, so maybe I should just do it. I don't know. Okay, let's put this one down. I know I'll use this one. So maybe have one this way. And then maybe another one this way. So this is the dot grid one. Kind of don't want to cover up the stamp or this, so I think I might put it right here. That way I can still see some of the trees. And just maybe stagger it. Like that. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, I don't mind that. Okay, I think this might work. I wasn't sure about the boxes, but I think it's going to work. And I think I'm just going to have to be okay with having the different patterns in some of them in order to get the number of boxes I need. Okay, so this one needs to have 4 and then 3. And we have some pastel colors on this one. So again, we can kind of mix and match. This one, I might be able to do 2 long boxes on this one. 1, 2. Maybe fit a smaller box there. I think that might work. And since I need 4, I think I need to use all mid-sized boxes for that one. Yeah, I don't think I have enough of the boxes from Happy Planner. So I think I might have to use some of my own boxes or get creative because I just don't think I have enough. So yeah, I think I'm going to go back to my original idea of using some of my own boxes. And I just need one small one there. So I might do that. So let's do the same thing I did on the first page. Trim down like a 1/4 of an inch off the top and bottom just so it'll fit a little bit better on the page. And I don't want any offset on these, so I'm going to trim off all of the offset. Okay, so I trimmed these down. So let's go ahead and put these down. Again, I want to preserve at least some part of the image on each page. So it's like I did sketches in my field journal of the different things that I observed. Okay, so one smaller box here. See, I don't know if I have any pastel pink boxes. Again, I don't want to use a checklist because I think that's a little weird. Let's see. Do I have any pink ones over here? Oh, I have this one. That's close. Might use that. From the same color family. And let's see. Trying to decide if I want to cover up his body or not. Or do it like this. Let me do it like this. Maybe right about here. Okay, so 3 there. I had to come up with 4 on this side. And I think to get 4, I'm going to have to use all this size so that I can still see most of this, because I think these might be too big. Or what I might do is size some of these down. Maybe I'll do that. So if I did 1, 2, 3, I probably could get a small 4th one there. Again, the problem is finding boxes that will go. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think I might have to use some of my own. So let me, again, pull some of my own boxes. Okay. So, again, I love color, but I don't want to go super dark for this. So, this is a different color pink, but again, within the same color family. Or do we want to go more of this peach color? Ooh, I might do that. And I have 4 of these. I just need to cut off the offset of this. Because I made these for my planner. So I didn't intend for these to go in my journal. And ordinarily, since the journal paper is white, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. But since I'm putting this on top of paper I designed, I want to make sure that I don't have the offset. So that it's just the color of the box on top. Actually, I think what I might do is cut this on here. I think that'll be easier. Instead of doing it like this. Now let's peel another one so I can try to place 2 at the same time, because I've got to get 4 on this page. Okay. 4. So, and again, I want to try to leave some of the design so I can see it. Like, I love these splatters, so I don't want to cover all of those up. I'm going to do it like that. Maybe this one this way. Again, so it's not covering up all the design. I think I fit 1 there and maybe another one next to that one. Actually, this size box might work out perfectly. I think I might do it right like this. Okay, so we got 4 there, 3 there. All right, next one is 4 and 2. Because of the giraffe, I decided I could only get 2 on this one. Okay, so same thing. We gotta get 4 on this side. Okay, let's see. We've got some pinks and greens. Might do the same color. And then maybe, since I only need 2, maybe I'll put 2 grocery boxes there. So let's see if I have something close in color in the grocery box size. I got stickers everywhere, you guys. Just Got a smudge on it. I wonder if I can get this out. Or you know what? I might just leave it because, again, character. I think I might use these two. And again, there's not much of an offset because I don't usually create a giant offset, but it does have a small one. So it's going to be easier to cut it off while it's attached to the sticker backer sheet. So that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so let's see. This is 2, this is 4. So here and here, again, I've got to trim this down. So let's see if 1/4 inch is enough. If not, I'm going to cut the box down and piece it back together like I do in my journal sometimes. I mean, in my planner. Okay, it just fits. Will this one fit? Yes, okay, so that will work. Okay, so now we can put these down. And again, I want to preserve the beautiful giraffe here. So let's see, how far can this come? About right there. Okay, and then 4 on this side. And must have used up all my boxes in this shade already, so that's why I'm using this color. And I need to cut offset off. Okay, so I think what I'll do is now that you've seen part of this process is I'll go through and add all the coordinating boxes, number of boxes I need for each page. And then I'll come back and date some of this with you guys on camera so you can see what that looks like. So that you can see each part of the process a little bit. But this is going to be pretty much be the same. So I'm going to go through, find color coordinating boxes, trim off the offset, and then I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so I just finished adding all the boxes. So this is what it looks like. And that took quite a while. I ended up using most of my boxes because I just didn't have enough of the Happy Planner boxes to color coordinate in the right sizes. And I kind of like the idea of having some longer areas to write as well. So I think that worked out pretty well. The only thing I messed up is in this box. It kind of like clung to the page before I was able to trim it. And then when I tried to lift it, it literally was ripping the page. And I said, you know what, we're going to cover up that little seam. So that's the only box that didn't go down exactly where I wanted it to. The little strip that I put together. But for example, like these ones, I cut down to size because I wanted them a little bit smaller to fit the space. Cut this down to size. Again, just so it would fit the space a little better. I tried to leave them lengthwise, you know, the original grocery list size if I could. But again, some of them I did have to trim down if I didn't have boxes this color that would color coordinate. So that's kind of what I did. So now let's go ahead and date everything. And I'm trying to decide if I want to just do the brown ink or do the blue on some. Let me see what this one looks like. I don't think I want to do black. I feel like that's going to be a little too stark. Well, let's see what the blue looks like. I did upside down. Okay, that's a little bit darker than I thought. Okay, yeah, we're going to go with the brown. I'm glad I did a test. Okay, so I wasn't sure about which one of these I wanted to use. I don't think I'm going to use either one of these. I think, the black's going to be too stark, and this one is quite darker than I realized. So I'm not going to use that either. So I'm going to put that back. So we're going to stick with this. And let me get a baby wipe so I can wipe off the residual blue. All right, so I'm just going to clean the blue off. Okay. And again, we're going to go back with the original coffee archival ink. Okay, so I'm going to date a few with you guys and then do the rest of them. And then after that, I'll come back and show you what it looks like just because it's going to be the same process. So again, you got to kind of remember how you're holding it, because you got to hold it the opposite way you think you do, right? So that it'll date properly. So I'm going to press down hard. And let's see. Oh, I had ink on my hands. Great. Make sure you don't have ink on your hands. Well, like we say, gives a character. And yeah, this is archival ink. So as you can see, it's there. So that's just going to be a smudge. I'm trying to decide if I want to date it like this or this way. Let's see. Let me cut this real quick, just so I can get a visual of what it would look like. If I did it like that, or do I want it to be... Okay, yeah, I think I want it to be more visible. So I'm gonna take this clip off so that it'll lie flush. So again, do my best to wipe off some of these fibers from the... It's gonna be hard to be exact because I can't see it perfectly, but we're just gonna do that. And then each time I'm gonna change it. So I'm gonna go from... I almost changed the wrong one. You got to do, again, like I said, the opposite. So not the first one, but the second one. I'm changing it from 1 to 2. So that is July 2nd. Okay. And then 2 to 3. July 3rd. Okay. So at first, second, third. So I'm going to go through, date everything through the 31st, and then I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so I just finished dating everything, and it went pretty well for the most part. I'll go ahead and show you everything. That's the page that I did with you. And these are the subsequent pages. Now, the next page, for some reason, I don't know, my brain, like I turned the page and I had set it for July 11th. And for some reason, I stamped it down here instead of up here. Thankfully, I quickly realized it after I did it. And so then I dated everything else right. And then I just stamped the 16th on top of it. And I was going to white it out and, you know, try to change it. But then I said, you know what? This just makes it look more real, right? So I left it, you know, since I know this is coming after the 15th, that's the 16th. So I decided to leave it because I thought if I white it out, it might not, you know, because of the ink. I thought that the whiteout might prevent the ink from sticking to it. So, and then I was like, well, if I use sticker paper and I only have it in that one area, is that going to look a little weird if it's raised up? So I was like, you know what, we're going to leave it. So I just left it. So, you know, that's the one that didn't come out just right. But for the most part, it came out pretty well. So that was the only one that kind of messed up. So we got all of our days in here. And I really love the way that turned out. I like I'm glad I remembered that I had this and that I was able to use it. So the archival ink is going to work beautifully. Again, it's acid free, it's permanent, it's waterproof. So that's why I decided to use that in my journal. Okay. So now it's time to decorate and have some fun. So I pulled lots of stuff that I thought I might be able to use. You know, I don't know if I'll use it all, but again, stuff that I thought would be good. So I have tons of ephemera from Park Lane that I thought might work. It's vellum, so we're definitely going to have to, you know, use some glue stick, or if it will fit through, if it's small enough to fit through my Xyron, I can use that. But like I have these different animals, flowers, greenery. So tons of stuff that I thought might work. And then I also remembered that I had this nature sticker book from Paper Studio by Agenda52. And it's, I wish I had remembered that I had this earlier because it's literally the theme that I'm doing. So, I mean, it has, the only downside, it has lots of small boxes and not a lot of huge boxes. So I guess it's a good thing that I just went the route that I thought. But I could have used some of those. And I love it because it looks like some things are stapled or have, you know, like paper clips. So it would have been kind of cool to kind of mix in some of those with it if I had thought to do this. But that's okay. We can use, again, some of the florals and greenery and maybe even some of the sticker strips. I think what I might do first is go through and maybe make it look like some of these are like stuck to my journal with some tape. But then I also pull this Moody Botanical book, and I use this in a spread in June. Tons of greenery. Again, I thought I might use some of this in some areas that I just want to fill in or add some extra color. But let's go through, and there are some sticker strips in here. like these or that one that I thought might work. Even some of the ones with the text. So I just might go through and just pull some of these and use it like washi, essentially, is what I'm going to do. So I don't think I'm going to do it on every box, but maybe like one or two on the page. And let's see, let me use my ruler here to kind of tear that edge a little bit so it's not so perfect. And again, just create little small strips. So that wouldn't have to cut into any of these other larger ones. I tore a strip from washi roll just to use for this last page. Again, just so I wouldn't have to mess up another one. Let's maybe do the side here. And on this side. Again, let's just try to give it some interest without too much. And maybe I'll layer this one on top of that one and then leave that bottom one blank. Okay, let me get this last little piece off my fingers. Okay, so I like the washi. I think that looks really cute. Again, it looks more lived in, which I love. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add maybe some greenery and other things like that. And I think I'm going to use most of the things from this book because, again, it's kind of the same softer color palette. So I think this one will work a little bit better than the Moody Botanicals book from Paper Studio. So let me find something to cover up this first. This is falling apart. This is brand new. I don't know why this is coming apart like this. So I think the back half is boxes, and then it goes into sketches like this. Some icons. Need something either skinny or big that, again, will cover that seam. Okay, so it has some sketches of greenery here. Animals, butterflies, florals. Okay. I might add like a little sketch. So it looks like, oh, I was sketching something in my journal. You know what I mean? It's not quite tall enough. Oh, this one is tall. Need something tall enough to cover this. And kind of disguise that seam. Oh, perfect. Ooh, I love that. Okay. That looks great. And I'll use this maybe on this side over here somewhere. Oh, I love that. That looks great. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to play with this and maybe with some of the ephemera. So I think I'm going to go through and add just some small little touches of things, like leaves and things like that. I don't want to put any of the vases. This might work maybe along a large box. Like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to interfere with the giraffe. So maybe right here, this might work. It's really long. Oh, that's going in his face, though. What if I bring it down all the way to the bottom? Let's see. Oh, I love clear stickers, but the only thing is they kind of get sucked to the page sometimes, which is kind of annoying. So I'm going to bring this all the way down to the side, and I'm going in the box slightly. Again, I can because it's a larger box. Oh, okay, that works. Let me just trim off a tiny little piece of clear sticker that went past the page. Okay. Again, go through and maybe add at least one of these, maybe to at least one side of the page. Like we have some of these butterflies. Like sketchy butterflies. These are kind of cute. You know what I mean? Like, add some on the page like that. And again, some of these florals. That way it kind of looks like, oh, I'm drawing some of like the flora and fauna on my safari. I think that might be kind of cool. Trying to pick items that can go in between the boxes. This dragonfly. I think I'm gonna put this one in between, in the middle. Let's see, what did I do with my craft scraper? Push it in the middle and then go across the other page so that it'll fold properly. Okay, something here. Maybe a flower to mimic that one down there. I don't want to put it close to the ostrich. Maybe I'll put it over here. Kind of same thing. Make it go in the middle. And then put that butterfly on that side. Let's see. Maybe something small over here. Okay, we got the butterflies there. Maybe I'll add one on this side, just so they're not all on that one side. Okay, we got that. Maybe something small over here. Trying to create an angle so it's not going into the box. I want to make sure that I have enough room to write. Okay. I think that's good, especially since we have this large one here. So something on the first page. Oh, here's some feathers. Might put some of these on the ostrich page. Let's see. Maybe kind of funny. And let's see, maybe some greenery. Again, maybe in this bottom corner so it doesn't take up much room. And maybe this little bird, since the trees are right there. Can't really see him though. It's kind of hard to see him. Okay, maybe I won't use him. See, maybe some leaves. I think that's the only other thing I have that's small. So just maybe a few leaves. Just to bring a little bit of interest over here. Okay. All right, so that's the first page. Second page. Third page. Fourth page. Fifth page. And the last page. Okay. So I don't think I'm gonna use any more of these. I think that was a nice little touch to add some of the sketches. And I thought I was gonna use some greenery for this, but I don't think I am. I kind of like the subtle touch of the sketches. So now let's go through and see if we want to add any of the vellum. Which I may not that have done this, but you never know. Let's see. Maybe get a sticker backer sheet so I can kind of lay these out and see what I have. Okay, I thought I was going to use some of the birds, but I don't think I am. It's just a different style. I kind of want to use these for sure. And maybe some of this greenery. So let's see. Ooh, could put him down here. I already have the other leopard herds there. Oh, wait. Hold on. Make sure. Oh, I was on the wrong side. Actually, I think I might do the wrong side because it's more muted. And this is more vibrant. So I'm going to do this side. I'm going to purposely put adhesive on the wrong side so that it's not as colorful. Again, so it kind of goes with the same aesthetic that I've established. Soft, muted tones. Like it's vellum, so it's going to be a little bit brighter than everything else, but on the other side it was even louder than that, so I like that. Just gives it a little extra touch of something. Let's see. Is there anywhere we can put him? Ooh, I think I might put him there. He's kind of sitting. I might have to cut some of him off. I don't know if I want to do that though. Okay, let's see. I like the idea of him sitting on the box, but again, he's so big. So I'd have to cut some of him off. I don't know if I want to do that. I think this might be the best spot for him. If I put him here, then only have to cut off of his tail. Or I could do this, have him looking off the page, then I capture almost all of him. And again, if I do the wrong side, he's more muted. So I might do that and move this butterfly. Maybe put the butterfly over here. And let me get my glue stick and have him coming this way. And with vellum, you have to put glue everywhere so that you won't see where you've missed it. And vellum has a tendency to curl, so I'm definitely going to have to use my bone folder to kind of coax him into submission. Pushing him into the fibers of the journal paper. And let's see. He went over ever so slightly. On the side and on the bottom. But at least this way I was able to add all of him. And since this was mostly botanicals on this side, it just adds a nice little touch. Again, I'm just pushing the vellum down so it'll stay until the glue can fully adhere. There's a small little tear here. Let's see, I might get, I don't know if my outliners will work on vellum, but let's see. Just kind of blend out this tear. Make it a little bit less noticeable. There we go. Okay, that actually worked pretty well. And trying to feel if it's coming up. It feels like it's staying down pretty well, but I'm going to push it down one more time with my bone folder, the edges in particular. That's the main thing I'm concerned about. I mean, this Elmer's glue is pretty strong. I don't think I've ever tried it on vellum, but we're going to see if it works. And I'll put a little bit more glue on his paw over here. And again, push it down as best I can. And remove some of the excess adhesive. Okay, that feels pretty good. All right, that feels pretty secure. All right, so we have, you want to put anything on this one? I know it doesn't make sense, but that floral kind of looks kind of cool behind the Jeep. And again, this is kind of like a fantasy land, right? So it doesn't have to make sense. You can just have fun. Might cut this in half. Not sure. I'm gonna leave that there in case I change my mind and want to do it. Now this other butterfly that I might add right here. Again, I'm gluing it down on the opposite side so it's not quite as vibrant. And it brings in some of that color from over here. I think this one might fit in my Xyron. Let's see. Yes, it does. And this makes it easier when I can just use this. That way I don't have to worry about gluing it. And I know it's going to stay because Xyron adhesive is crazy strong. I mean, look at that. I just usually just rub off the excess of adhesive around the edges, just so that it's not sticking to the page. Okay, that's nice. I like that. I don't think we need anything else here. I mean, maybe like a flower or something, but since there's these florals here. I don't want to use this even though it's decorative. You know what I mean? Like, that would fit perfectly because I have all this extra space. So I might do that. See, like I have this. You know what I mean? Even though it's decorative, so it's just, I can still see the giraffe, but it just adds a little pop of color. I think that's kind of cool. With the butterflies underneath. Just trim it ever so slightly. But right there. And then just lift up this sticker strip and put it back down after. I think that's kind of cool. Again, just trying to add some layers of interest. And again, because this is vellum, so it's kind of hard to adhere, but I think this might be too, yeah, this is too big. So I have to glue it down. And I think I'm gonna use the brighter side since it has that gilding on it. Just because I think it looks nicer. Oh, actually I have some tape runner, but then it's gonna be visible. Yeah, I bet not. Okay. It's going to be, tape runner's less messy, but if you don't cover the entire area evenly, which is hard to do with tape runner on vellum, it's okay, you guys, my camera cut off and I had no idea I was talking, so I have no clue where it stopped. I won't know until I start editing, but I went through this whole debacle of trying to fit in this quote, and I trimmed off some of the vellum, and then I was like, okay, it still doesn't fit. It was covering up too much of the ostrich. So then I cut the words apart so I could put it vertically, and it fits perfectly vertically. So I don't think you saw any of that. At least I don't know. I mean, again, I won't know until I start editing, but I was talking, and then I just happened to look up and saw my camera lens had retracted, and I'm like, wait a second. Why is my camera not on? And I'm like, great. So I have no idea, again, what you saw or didn't see. So I've been adding in some vellum embellishments. Again, I don't know how far it cut off. Hopefully you saw the bulk of this, because I've been talking and talking. And again, I don't know where it cut off at. So I think I might be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a flip through. And I was just kind of removing some of the extra adhesive. So let's go ahead and do a flip through and I'll show you everything. I think I might be done. If not, I might add 1 or 2 touches, but again, I think that I'm finished. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything. So this is how it looks. Again, I love the way that this looks. I love the fact that it looks like I have my field notes memo book literally stuck into my journal, even though it's my journal. So I think that is so cool. So that's the first page. You open it up to the inside page of who the book belongs to. Then we go into the logbook of my safari, my pretend safari. And again, I just added some vellum touches throughout just to kind of give it some interest. That's the next page. I love this one. And even the vellum pieces that, well, actually, I think all of them are kind of non-functional and just decorative, but I love that. Like this, I love the fact that I have this beautiful frame here, and yeah, it's decorative, but it really adds to it. It looks like like when you're traveling and you stick like brochures and pieces of flyers and things of the sites and excursions you've taken and the places you visited. I love the fact that I have that in here. It's like a little small piece of that. So that's the last page. Again, I'm gonna kind of go through the sticker book one last time just to see if there's anything else I want to add. Again, if I add anything, it's gonna be pretty small. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna go through and see if I feel like anything's missing, or if I just want to layer something on top. I might want to do that. Let's see. Oh, I like this bumblebee. I think I might use him somewhere. And this one. I used some of the insects, like the dragonfly, but I think that's the only one I used. Kind of want to put something there, layer something on top of that. I don't know if I have anything, though. Might add one of these smaller boxes, even though I probably won't write in it, just to be decorative, just because it looks kind of cool. Or maybe, let's see, it has some quotes, like this one says, prioritize sleep, go to bed early, sleep in. Let's see if there's another one like that says something else. Get some fresh air. Oh, that's a nice one. Hello, sunshine. Good things take time. I like this one. I think I might put this one on top. Get some fresh air. and just maybe do it cat a corner like that. I just feel like this page doesn't have as much layering as this one and just needs a little bit of extra pop of color or something. Let's see if there's anything else I can use. This is little photo corners, but they're flowers. Might use that one there, just because. And maybe use the other one on the other side. Okay, I think that might be it for that one. And that one looks pretty good. And I love this one. I don't think I need anything else here. I mean, maybe one of these bees. And that looks great too. And might add this other bee over here. Let's see, maybe in between these boxes. I think there might be one more bee left. Let's go ahead and use him. Again, just kind of create a little bit more interest. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like that. And do we want to add any other insects? Well, we got some ladybugs. We might add a couple of those, or some of the beetles. That little beetle down there. Got a bunch of ladybugs. Is that? I think that's the only beetle that they gave me. That's a little weird. Okay, so let's maybe add some ladybugs. It's like they're crawling up the box. Here's another beetle. Let's have this one come down. Okay, just little touches. Let's see, do I want anything here? I think maybe some of these smaller flowers. Again, to kind of tie in with that. Just layer that one down there. I think that looks kind of cool. Okay, I like that. Let's see, this one, maybe add some flowers to this one too. Got that yellow one there to bring in some of that over here. That up there. Trying to bring a little bit more yellow to the left side since I have that. I think I'll add this in the middle. Just push it in and over so it'll go across the 2 pages and close. There we go. Again, just kind of bring some of that yellow to this side. And maybe one more piece. Add a little yellow right there. And maybe this one over here. Again, just kind of create some interest here. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. Maybe a floral down this way. That. I might cluster this a little bit more, bring it down there. Yeah, that looked good. Just again, kind of bring in a couple more pops of color. Okay, I like that. That looks good. This is trying to pop up, so I might add a little bit of glue just to this edge, or maybe tape runner. Let's see if tape runner works. Oops, you gotta take the lid off first. And where's my bone folder? There we go. There we go. Just gives it a little stronger adhesive. Yeah, that feels a lot better. More secure. Okay. The thing that's done. I feel like this needs a little bit more color. Maybe a couple more flowers. Maybe this way. Yeah, just to give that just a little bit of pop of color. And maybe this one over here in the middle. And let's see what this looks like. Yeah, okay, I just need a little bit more color on that page. It's very subtle. I decided to stay with kind of like the rose pinks and pale pinks that I used before, just to kind of keep the same color palette, but it kind of brings some of this color over here. And I think we might be done, you guys. All right, so let me clean everything up and then we'll take a final look. All right, you guys, so this is my creative journal for the month of July. Let's take a look inside of my field notes. So that's the first page. Second page. Third page. Fourth page. Fifth page. And the final page. And then the back cover. So again, it looks like I have my memo book from Field Notes tucked inside of my creative journal, even though it's actually just my journal. All right. Thank you for taking this journey with me on my pretend safari. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, stay inspired And thank you for watching.